win one, then so can we. That's www.shortyawards.com.
Bent like an articulated lorry.
Okay. Right. Okay. Iron Man 3. I mean, we've been sort of talking about it a wee bit already. It's one of those things. It's one of those things that it has divided audiences. Because some people love it, some people hate it. And the reason they do is because of...
Trevor Slattery.
Trevor Slattery.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. Which, for me, personally, I love.
Yeah. I died the first time I saw that. I genuinely died laughing.
Yeah, we're going to just take a wee quick listen to this. Hold on a second.
Take it.
Hey.
Take it. Although the guns are all fake, because those wankers wouldn't trust me with the real ones.
What? My name's Trevor Slattery.
Don't hurt the face.
Okay, what is that, and why is it not my ringtone?
It's a remix of the Trevor show.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
But he's not here. He's here.
Yeah.
But he's not here. He's here.
Yeah.
But he's not here. He's not here. What do you mean? It's complicated.
You got a minute to live. Fill it with words.
Just a roll. The Mandarin. See, it's not real.
Then how did you get here, Trevor?
Well,
What? Bloody hell.
What'd you tell me?
Bloody hell. Blah, blah, bloody hell.
Oh.
Bloody hell. Blah, blah, bloody hell.
Class. Right, okay.
Do you know what I love? I love the bit where he says something like, yeah, I was on drugs, and then, like, Killian's think tank took me in, and Robert Downey Jr.'s like, what'd they do? They said they'd get you off them? He just looks up and goes, they said they'd give me more.
I've done things that, honestly, I'm not proud of. Right. Okay, yeah, you know what? And a divided audience, because a lot of the hardcore Marvel fans were like, what? And everybody else was like, that's superb.
Yeah.
No, so we all knew that Ben Kingsley had come back to the Marvel fold, and he had filmed something else. Very top secret. Now, Carter one shot on Iron Man 3. It's kind of a thing now that every time one of the Marvel movies comes out on Blu-ray or DVD, that there's a little one shot.
It's mainly Blu-ray.
Okay. Yeah. But there's a little one shot attached, like a little short
mini
Marvel
movie. Yeah.
And we knew that there was one coming on Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah.
Called Hail to the King.
Hail to the King.
But there was a lot of rumours who was going to be in it, what was going to really be about.
A lot of people thought it was going to be to do with the ending of Thor: The Dark World.
Yes, they did. But no, it's the return of Trevor, which is just amazeballs.
Unreal.
Yeah. So,
yes, and it's Trevor in prison, so this takes place right after the events of Iron Man 3.
Yeah. Now, if you go to followingnerd.com and on the homepage as well, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the post. There is some images of Trevor in prison. Now,
Bloody hell.
I sort of get the impression that, and by the name of it as well, is it possible that Trevor has become kind of like a celebrity in prison? That everybody
yeah, probably,
thinks
because whenever he was jailed, you know, like the final shot of him in Iron Man 3 is him being led away in the handcuffs, and everybody taking photos of him going, oh, hello, hi.
No, but I mean like everybody thinks he's a badass.
Yeah.
Do you know, is he going to continue? I want to see him as the Mandarin in prison.
You think he'll actually...
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Is this the Mandarin's origin story?
Okay, I didn't think of it that way. I assumed this was after Iron Man 3.
No,
Do you think maybe it's a prequel?
No, I think it's after Iron Man 3. I think this is, the actual Mandarin from the movies, or from the comic book, the actual bad guy Mandarin.
You won't see me
You'll
coming.
never see me coming. I'm too careful. But anyway, yeah, like, I think this could be the origin story for the actual Mandarin.
Okay.
You know, because, like, it's all thinked up and stuff, and Aldrich Killian came out.
Up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, his think tank thinked it up. But, yeah... Can you hear music?
Yes. Sweet, sweet music.
Yes, indeed. Talking about Iron Man 3. Yeah, I genuinely think this could be the birth of the actual Mandarin. So perhaps Slattery in prison, like you say, everybody thinks he's a badass. You know, maybe he turns the prisoners into his own personal army. Maybe he becomes the Mandarin himself.
Would not be awesome.
Wouldn't it
if Trevor actually became the Mandarin?
Or if
he
was the Mandarin all along, and Trevor Slattery was the act.
It was a double,
and maybe he needed to go to prison. Maybe he needed to be caught, and maybe Aldrich Killian, whenever at the end of the movie he says, "I am the Mandarin." Maybe he's under orders from the real Mandarin to do that.
Yeah, because I I think I love that idea. And if there's one actor that could make that happen, it's Ben Kingsley.
Sir Ben Kingsley, indeed.
I mean, how cool would it be for him to come back in a couple of movies as the actual Mandarin?
That would be class.
You know, because I loved the evil Mandarin before Trevor was revealed. I
and
loved
actually
that
have
character.
Stark go, Trevor, what are you doing here? And then you have Ben Kingsley doing an entire Benedict Cumberbatch. You know, Trevor was a lie. You know, my name is the Mandarin.
Yeah, I like that idea. I like that idea. But so yes, Hail to the King is basically the return of Sir Ben Kingsley as Trevor Slattery or the Mandarin, whatever way you want to say it. Right. So yes, that's pretty cool. I like the idea of that.
Huzzah!
Okay, right. Let's see if we're going to catch Stuart on the hop.
Okay. Will we never see him coming?
Oh. Shine FM coming. Right, okay.
Okay.
Easy.
You really want to say that on air,
I
don't
do.
you?
I'm going to. I will.
Okay, well, we'll save it till later.
Okay.
Because we have my little promo as well that we need to play later as well.
Right, let's see if we can't get the Bile of Stuart online. Hello, Stuart.
Hello.
See,
Hello.
we're just testing to see if you're actually listening to the show there.
Yeah, I listen to it every week.
Yay. Do you think, does he? Do you believe him?
No.
Yeah, honestly, do.
All right, okay. Right, okay, Stuart, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Not a problem.
Stuart, do you remember, like, it must be at least half a year ago now, you asked me to write promos for the Monday movie show?
Yep, I did.
Yeah, I actually did those. Because
Awesome.
I had to record new promos for the show tonight, so I recorded, like, you're listening to the Monday movie show, and stuff like that. So is there anything else you need beyond, like, you know, just, hi, welcome to the show, or whatever?
Well, thankfully we're not doing this off air, because everybody wants to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Nope, that's perfect for me.
Awesome. Well, that's done then. Anyway, back to business.
Excellent. Right, Stuart, the first thing, very remiss of us last week, we did the review of the year. We had yourself and Andy from the Money Movie Show on, and we were basically talking about the movies that you loved and hated over the year and sort of what your highs and lows were. What we didn't ask you, and I'm very, very sorry, was we didn't ask you for your review of Paranormal Activity, the marked ones.
Yes.
If you could give us the skinny on that before we get into the top 10.
The skinny?
I will actually give you the skinny when we actually get to it in the top 10, because it's in the top 10 at number 5, so...
I'm so
Kill two birds with one stone.
I'm so glad I run this show. Right. Okay, without further ado, let's get into the top 10. Do you want to do the countdown? There you go, sir.
Thank you very much.
There you go. Before we do, Stuart, tell us what's been happening.
Four New Wendy's in the top 10. To be honest, and I'm being truthful here, a couple of films that I've not seen myself.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to take Andy's word on it, because the few films that I've not seen, Andy's actually seen. So at least we're still actually being able to cover them.
Well, that's something.
Yeah.
Okay.
At number 10, it's The Hunger Games Catching Fire.
For you. Lovely. Yeah, The Hunger Games, I think everybody knows how I feel about The Hunger Games. It's a really good film. I just feel like when it does get to the Hunger Games part, that's where the movie suffers a little bit. I really enjoy the character development before you get to the Hunger Games more.
At number 9, it's Walking with Dinosaurs.
Yeah, this is the only film in the entirety of the top 10 that both me and Andy has not seen, because it was released at Christmas, and normally at Christmas I don't go to the cinema, because there isn't anything that's normally interesting on the cinema at Christmas, and this movie just looks really nice. The CGI animation looks really nice. However, word of mouth is that it's just boring.
Yeah, but
It's,
I've heard
from
that.
what I've heard, it is absolutely dire, because this is the Walking with Dinosaurs that was the TV series broadcast by the BBC in the early 2000s. And the trouble is, with that, it was done more like a nature show,
Yeah.
more like a documentary, you know, with the CGI dinosaurs in place of, say, footage of penguins or
Yeah.
something like that. What they've done here is they've made it into more something akin to, say, Ice Age,
'Cause the dinosaurs
where the
talk and
characters
stuff.
actually talk.
Yeah.
And it follows one little dinosaur who has to get back to his family or something really generic. And apparently it is so basic and so dull. You know, it talks down to kids. And from what I've heard, it actually talks down to babies. You know what I mean? It's so very simplistic with its dialogue. And that's really a shame. That's all I have to say.
Same here.
Number 8, it's The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Now, Andy's been pushing me to see this. I'm not much of a fan of Ben Stiller. I don't think he's a good actor, to be honest. He gets on my nerves when he's in comedies, and he's been trying to get me to see this film. I've not had the time to be able to see it, but he saw it and he thought, for the first 20-25 minutes, it was a bit it was a bit boring. It's only when he discovers that the film cell that's really important, that it's a part of the last issue of the magazine that he's worked on, has gone missing. When he decides to go out and do the adventure part of the film, where he needs to try and sort of like rediscover himself, that's when the movie is at its best. And that's when Ben Stiller shows that not only is he a good actor, but he's also a good director, because he directed the film as well. So, and he enjoyed the last, say, hour and 15 minutes of the film. The first 20 minutes you have to sort of like get through it before you get to the good stuff.
Number 7, it's our first new entry of the week. Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom.
You would have thought that this film would have actually gotten higher in the chart than number 7, considering it's got Idris Elba in it and it centres around Nelson Mandela's life. It's his full life as well. That's the problem with the film, though. It centres on his full life rather than just a specific section of his life. The director tries to cram in everything in the 140-minute running time, and it fails at some points because it just feels a bit too muddled. It would have played much better if it was more like a mini-series, like 5 episodes or 6 episodes long, and exploring different sections of his life. When, for instance, when he met Winnie Mandela, which Naomi Harris, who plays Winnie Mandela, is outstanding. I think she could have had a film of her own, and just charting his life rather than just showing it in this full 140 minutes, it just feels a bit muddled. It's brilliantly acted, though, but it could have just centered on one section of his life rather than what it tried to do.
At number 6, it's Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Anchorman. I don't find the original Anchorman funny at all. Andy thought this was a bit boring, to be honest. He's a fan of the first one. He just didn't laugh as much in this one. He thought that they were trying way too hard to be funny.
Fair enough. At number 5, it's our second new entry of the week, Paranormal Activity, The Marked Ones.
Technically the 5th in the series, but not so because this is the Latino spin-off, because the 5th one is out in October. And it's okay. It's slightly better than the 3rd and 4th one, but that's pretty easy to do because the 3rd and 4th one is terrible. This one, the problem with it, at the start it feels more like a comedy. Like, 2 friends has got this camera, they decide to film their exploits. And so for the first half an hour it becomes more like a comedy. Only when you discover that the neighbour downstairs, she might have been into something more sinister and she passes away and then they decide to break into her apartment. That's when the paranormal stuff happens, when he discovers this mark on his arm. And it's okay, it's just really generic, and the found footage film has just had its day a few years ago and is really boring and tedious now.
At number 4, it's our third new entry, Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's The Hangover for old age pensioners.
Super.
Yeah, Robert De Niro, Michael Douglas, Morgan Freeman, Kevin Kline go to Las Vegas because one of them is having a bachelor party and he's going to get married.
I hear it's actually okay, though.
Yeah, Andy was the one who saw this. He thought, yeah, it's not too bad. It's a bit leering at times. For instance, they have to judge a bathing suit contest, and you can imagine people their age judging a bathing suit contest with women at the age of 20. That looks a bit sort of like, yeah, questionable. But yeah, it doesn't go down the gross out comedy route or anything like that, which is a good thing because I doubt you would have wanted to see a gross out comedy with those 4 actors in it.
No.
So it's supposedly not too bad.
Okay.
At number 3, it's Frozen.
I loved it. Andy thought it was okay. I hate Andy
I
more.
loved it.
I loved it.
Yeah, he thought the musical numbers were fine. He felt like it didn't flow properly. It wasn't funny.
Serious?
Yeah, he actually thought it wasn't funny, and I'm the one who thought it was funny, and I can't stand comedies that much, to be honest, and very few comedies released over the last few years have been funny, but I loved everything about this film.
Yeah, no, I did too.
Me too.
Andy, you're right.
At number 2, it's The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug.
It's better than The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey.
So is Drinking Paint.
Yeah, that's true. It's still too long. Way too long. There is going to be an extended cut of this, unfortunately.
Oh my God.
I know. The extended cut of The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey is 17 minutes longer.
It should only be
So-
17 minutes long.
Yeah.
So there is going to be an extended cut. I still think the